The recording that changed everything. Zahra Turner clutched her history textbook tightly against her chest as she approached room 203. Every day, the same knot formed in her stomach before Mr. Blackwell's American history class. She took a deep breath, squared her shoulders, and pushed open the door. "Miss Turner, late again?" Mr. Blackwell's voice cut through the classroom even though the bell hadn't rung yet. "Some cultures just have a different understanding of time, I suppose." Several students shifted uncomfortably in their seats. Zahra felt her cheeks burn as she slid into her desk near the back row. This wasn't new. For weeks, Mr. Blackwell had peppered his lessons with observations about her. How articulate she was when she answered questions correctly. How surprising it was that she had the highest grade on the midterm. The way he'd call on her to explain the black perspective whenever they discussed civil rights. Today, her phone sat heavy in her pocket. Yesterday, her cousin had shown her how to record audio with one click through her jacket. Just in case, the class had been discussing the civil rights movement, a topic that should have been approached with sensitivity and historical accuracy. But as Mr. Blackwell paced at the front of the room, something in his demeanor seemed different today, more agitated, less restrained. "Now, let's be honest about something," Mr. Blackwell said, closing his textbook with a sharp snap. "The textbooks these days are so concerned with being politically correct that they exaggerate the significance of certain events." Zahra's finger slid to her phone, pressing the record button through her jacket pocket. A small vibration confirmed it was working. "The way they frame it, you'd think every advancement in this country came through protest. But success in America has always been about hard work, not complaining." His voice grew louder. "Some groups understand this better than others." Marcus, a student in the front row, raised his hand. "Sir, that doesn't seem accurate based on the historical what?" Mr. Blackwell cut him off. "Let me tell you what history shows. It shows that certain communities just don't value education the same way. They blame the system instead of looking in the mirror." Zahra felt herself shrinking into her seat as Mr. Blackwell's words became increasingly explicit. "Just look at test scores across different neighborhoods. Some groups simply don't have the same work ethic or family structures to succeed. That's not racism, that's reality." The classroom fell silent. No one looked at Zahra, but she could feel the tension, the discomfort, and the shock rippling through the room. Her hand trembled in her pocket around her phone, which continued recording every hateful word. Zahra sat cross-legged on her bed that evening, staring at her phone as if it might explode. The audio file contained 23 minutes of Mr. Blackwell's unfiltered bigotry. Her finger hovered over the delete button, then pulled away. "Baby, dinner's ready," her mother called from downstairs. "Coming," Zahra replied, but didn't move. If she shared this recording, what would happen? Mr. Blackwell had tenure. He was friends with Principal Walters. The school board chairman's son played golf with him on weekends. The system protected people like him, but if she stayed silent, Zahra thought about the freshman girl who had transferred into Mr. Blackwell's class last week, bright-eyed Tamara with the colorful beads in her braids. How long before that light dimmed under his constant observations? Her phone buzzed with a text from her best friend, Layla. "Did you decide yet?" Zahra took a deep breath. Her grandmother's words echoed in her mind. Sometimes doing the right thing isn't easy, but that doesn't make it any less right. She typed back, "Meeting you before school tomorrow. Bring your laptop." Her hand still trembled, but for a different reason now. Fear was giving way to determination. Some risks were worth taking, not just for herself, but for everyone who would come after her. "Are you absolutely sure about this?" Layla whispered as they huddled in the empty art room. Morning sunlight streamed through the tall windows, illuminating dust particles floating in the air. Zahra nodded, connecting her phone to Layla's laptop. "Listen first, then tell me what you think." As the recording played, Layla's expression transformed from curiosity to shock to anger. This is horrible, Zahra. We can't let him get away with this." The art room door creaked open. Both girls jumped. "Sorry to interrupt, Ms. Rivera," the art teacher paused when she saw their faces. "Is everything okay?" After a moment of hesitation, Zahra made a decision. "Actually, no. Could you listen to something, Ms. Rivera?" When the recording finished playing again, Ms. Rivera sat down heavily on a nearby stool. "How long has this been going on?" "Since freshman year," Zahra admitted. "But yesterday was the worst." Ms. Rivera took off her glasses, wiping them slowly. "You're not alone in this fight, Zahra. Play it again." By lunchtime, a small but determined group had gathered: Layla, Marcus from history class, twin sisters Ava and Amara, and Jason, the editor of the school newspaper. Each listened, each committed to standing beside her. "We'll go to Principal Walters together," Ms. Rivera declared. "There's power in numbers." Principal Walters leaned back in his leather chair, fingers steepled together as he surveyed the unusual group assembled in his office. Zahra sat in the center, flanked by her peers and Ms. Rivera, who stood with her hand resting supportively on Zahra's shoulder. "These are very serious allegations, Ms. Turner," Principal Walters said, his tone measured and cold. "Mr. Blackwell has been with Westridge High for 15 years. His record is impeccable." "With all due respect, sir," Zahra said, her voice steadier than she felt, "I have evidence." She placed her phone on his desk and pressed play. As Mr. Blackwell's voice filled the room, Vice Principal Harmon's eyes widened. Principal Walters' expression, however, remained unchanged. When the recording ended, silence hung heavy in the air. "Context is important," Principal Walters finally said, pushing the phone back toward Zahra. "I'm sure there's been some misunderstanding. Perhaps Mr. Blackwell was playing devil's advocate to stimulate classroom discussion." "That wasn't a debate technique," Marcus interjected. "I was there too." "As was I," added Ava. "He says things like this all the time." Principal Walters sighed. "Look, I understand you're upset, but recording a teacher without consent is against school policy. I'm afraid I can't take action based on illegally obtained evidence." Ms. Rivera stepped forward. "James, this isn't about school policy. This is about creating a safe learning environment for all students." "My decision is final," Principal Walters declared, standing up. "I'll speak with Mr. Blackwell privately about his teaching methods. That's the most appropriate course of action. Now, I suggest you all return to class before this becomes a disciplinary issue for each of you." Outside the office, Zahra fought back tears of frustration. "That's it? Nothing's going to change?" "No," Layla said firmly. "This isn't over. Not even close." The video appeared first on TikTok, Zahra's voice narrating over a black screen, explaining the situation while audio clips from Mr. Blackwell's tirade played underneath. Layla had carefully edited out anything that could identify specific students. Within hours, the video jumped to Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. By morning, Zahra's phone wouldn't stop buzzing with notifications. Local news stations were calling. The hashtag #FireBlackwell was trending citywide. "Have you seen this?" Jason rushed up to Zahra in the hallway, showing her his phone. The school district's social media pages were flooded with comments from parents, alumni, and community members demanding action. Outside the school gates, a crowd had gathered. Zahra recognized community leaders, parents, and graduates spanning decades of Westridge High's history. Signs bobbed above the crowd: "Protect our students, no place for hate, education without discrimination." Pastor Thompson from Zahra's church spotted her and walked over. "Your courage has awakened this community, Zahra. People have been silent for too long." A woman with gray hair approached, introducing herself as Dr. Wilkins, class of '78. "Mr. Blackwell was my classmate before he was a teacher. This behavior isn't new. We tried to speak up 40 years ago, but nobody listened. They're listening now." The school board announced an emergency meeting for that evening. Attendance was expected to break records. The school board meeting stretched past midnight. One by one, current and former students stepped to the microphone, sharing stories that echoed Zahra's experience. When Zahra herself spoke, the room fell completely silent. This isn't about punishing one teacher, she concluded. It's about creating a school where everyone belongs. 3 days later, the superintendent held a press conference on the school's front steps. Effective immediately, Mr. Blackwell's employment with Westridge School District has been terminated. Additionally, we are implementing a comprehensive anti-bias training program for all staff. Zahra watched the announcement on television, surrounded by her allies. The superintendent continued, a new student-led diversity council will work directly with administration to review curriculum and policies. We're also establishing an anonymous reporting system for students who experience discrimination. As the press conference ended, Zahra's phone lit up with a text from Ms. Rivera. This is just the beginning. You've changed this school forever. 6 months later, Zahra stood at the podium in the school auditorium, surveying the packed room. As chairperson of the newly formed Student Diversity Council, she was introducing their first community forum. What happened last semester revealed a problem, but also showed our strength, she said confidently. Together, we're building something better. The changes were already visible. New faculty members who reflected the student body's diversity. Curriculum that told complete, honest histories. A reporting system that students actually trusted. Most importantly, Zahra noticed the freshman students, walking taller, speaking more freely, belonging fully. She smiled at Ms. Rivera in the front row. This is what justice looks like, Zahra said. Not just removing harm, but creating something beautiful in its place.